Guys, I don't know how much I could go on with this product. Hello there, motherfuckers. I mean, let's, we won't break tradition. We'll start off. And, what more could be said? What more could be said about this pay-per-view that, I think most people kind of agree. And I have to say I'm a bit surprised even at the negative response that this pay-per-view is receiving. Most people, I thought that the Smarks would have said that this was a great pay-per-view. They would have oohed and they would have awed. I don't know if they're so caught up in WWE sucks and AEW is going to overtake them and it's going to be the Monday Night Wars and we're going to have another 80-something weeks of pure dominance from another wrestling company. I don't know what the people expect. I don't know what they think is going to happen, but I know what's going to happen. What we've got here basically is a lot of false hope. People think that, WWE is going to get beat up by AEW, so they're all jumping on the bandwagon now. But fuck AEW. They're not beating WWE. That's going to be a smarky company. I think that they are going to fall faster than Impact Wrestling TNA did. They're going to burn out. I think they're going to get even less success because at least when TNA, started, there was still somewhat of popularity in WWE. At least like 4 million people were watching roughly around that point. Now you could barely get 2 million views a week for a WWE product. So you got to understand that with that brand recognition, WWE is, what Band-Aid is for adhesive bandages. Most people say WWE, WWF when they refer to wrestling as a whole. So, there you go. So, anyway, guys, let's talk about the Royal Rumble. And let's talk about really the only thing that is going to affect wrestling. And that's just how fucking miserable this product is. And how miserable I was watching this show. Nearly 5 hours, not counting the pre-show, which is, if you watch that, God bless you, 7 hours. I mean, remember when I say this time and time again, remember when WrestleMania, at least, when WrestleMania 17 happened, it was the first time that a wrestling pay-per-view was going to be 4 hours. And I was super excited because, I couldn't wait, I couldn't wait for WrestleMania to happen back during the Attitude Era, and, just having an extra hour of wrestling, that was just, amazing to me. I thought I was really feeling something special, and it made sense. All the other pay-per-views are 3 hours, so WrestleMania being the granddaddy of them all, why else not make it a 4-hour spectacular? It made a lot of sense. It was also taking place, a huge, massive card at a massive stadium, the Astrodome. It made a lot of sense. And this also was taking place at a somewhat bigger arena. There was a somewhat smaller stadium, not really a WrestleMania-style stadium with 48,000 people. But it definitely was this event. It felt, sort of like WrestleMania. It was in a big arena. But they really poorly promoted this show. It never really felt like a Royal Rumble was happening. You think back, you watch the build up for previous Rumbles when it was a real mystery. Who's going to win it? It could be anybody. And you'd see all the players headed into it. Here you really didn't even know who was going to be in it, who was going to have a title match and who wasn't. And some of the people, even who had title matches earlier in the night, ended up in the Rumble anyway, which, never really used to happen back in the day. But anyway, let's go through this card. And I'll be honest with you. I missed the first 2 matches and I did not go back. But let's recap them anyway. I watched all the other matches from start to finish. So I don't want to hear shit on that, okay? But after this was such a bad show, there was no way I was going back to the first hour of the show. I had already watched 4 hours of miserable shit. There was no way I was going to go back to the network and go watch from the beginning. And you know, a lot of times when you're on the network, they don't let you go back to the beginning. A lot of times I would have had to wait an hour, and I'm not doing that shit. I'm not. You know, I'd rather play my Switch. I'm currently working on a really good game review for you guys, and this is what I'm saying, guys. I would love. Most of these reviews are for you. Let's keep that straight. I don't watch this for me. I watch it for you. I have fun doing this channel. I have a ball making these reviews. But the only thing is watching this shit. And even when I watch it in clips, you know, when I watch Raw and SmackDown in clips, the pay-per-views I always watch the whole way through. This time I missed an hour. It was just such a bad show that I just couldn't go back. But even watching those clips, watching Raw in clips on WWE's channel, so I could get all caught up and I could still make a relevant review and still have like a pretty solid opinion, that still takes an hour. That's still an hour out of my life, you know. And I was kind of weighing the things. I'm like, man, I could be working, I could be editing another video for you guys, I could, you know, be just doing some more fun stuff on this channel. And you know, I just, you know, like, just it's painful for me. I don't want to stop making wrestling reviews, but I really don't even really want to watch this shit. I don't like it. I like some key players in it. You know, I really do. I really do enjoy watching Elias, but week after week, it's hard for me to watch them just, you know, belligerently. Just, you know, it's like watching a drunk, like, try to get home. It really is. It's like, you know, you're kind of hoping that he'll get home, that nothing bad's going to happen to him, you know, like a friend of yours maybe, something like that. You know, and it's just like, you know, you just don't want to watch it. It really is. And that car wreck mentality excuse that I used to use for so many years is just, it's not even working for me anymore. You know, it's so bad that you can't look away. Because it's not so bad that it's good. It's just really, really bad. You know, it's not even like a bad movie. You can't even at least say that. It's just terrible. It's horrible. And the thing that kills me is that they know they have all this history and all these throwbacks that they try to do, and all the program, you know, Monday Night Wars that they do in the network. They know what the good shit is. They know what it takes to have a good product. They know what it takes to build characters. But they had said it. They said it about a year or two ago that they don't want to build stars. They have no interest in that. So what the hell is the point of watching a product that is going to, you know, defeat itself from the inside purposely? They're maniacs. It's just, they have a lot of people there that just have a really messed up mentality. And it makes no sense. And the thing is, it's just wrestling. It's not even like this is some serious business. But they're so maniacal. I've never seen this before. They will purposely try to fuck up their own product for whatever reason. Egos. I don't know what it is, who they're trying to appeal to anymore. Because no one's even watching it. And Fox has got this $1 billion deal with them. I don't even know what the hell Fox's problem is anymore. Like, honestly, like, you look at this and it's like, why are we even analyzing it? Fox's, they're morons, basically, for paying for this garbage. It's like they brought into a brand name, and that's about it. I mean, there's so many things, like, at least when they had UFC, more people were watching that, I think. But anyway, we'll talk about the results. So I didn't watch these matches. Asuka defeated Becky, and she tapped her out. Okay, like, I wasn't going to go back and watch that. I mean, honestly, like, you guys all know that, you know, I like Becky Lynch. I like Asuka as a wrestler. I think they're two very talented girls, but I just, you know, was not in the mood to watch that. And then we had Shane McMahon, The Miz, against the Bar. People were saying that Shane did a very impressive shooting star press, but, you know, it's like, you gotta understand, after watching this show, and I turned it on, you know, just as Rousey and Sasha Banks were competing, so we'll just jump right to that. So the part that I actually saw, when I turned the show on, at what was it, at 8 o'clock, I turned it on, and you know, you this match right here between Ronda Rousey and Sasha Banks. Sasha is she's just awful. She is like a female Seth Rollins. She does a superplex. She immediately floats over into a pin. Does a kind of like a little bit of a backflip into the pin. No selling the superplex. Like, I'm thinking about like when Chris Benoit or somebody, you know, I know people don't like to hear that name, but you know, they would do this move and like falling from the top rope, and it would just be like a complete fucking massacre. Like, you're suplexing somebody from the top. It's a huge fucking move. You know, it should be high impact. People should be selling. They should be down on the mat for at least 30 seconds. It really, it's like a big move that you want to sell. And usually what it'd be is it would be time for the wrestlers to at least rest while still providing a big spot that would still get the crowd, you know, into it. But they would understand that they had to sell this move. But somehow over the years, the crowd has been conditioned, and the, you know, some of the smarks, you know, they would criticize, you know, too much selling and overselling, and so they've done away with the selling. And Sasha Banks has done away with the selling, but luckily Ronda Rousey has. So meanwhile, you've got Ronda selling for Sasha, and Sasha's not selling for Ronda. And this is, it looked just horrible. Like, Ronda's here, like, and she's been... has less experience than Sasha from a professional wrestling standpoint, and she looks like she knows the game better than Sasha. But apparently, this is, you know, according to Wade Keller, this is Ronda Rousey's best match she ever had. Really, that's really fascinating, because to be quite fucking honest, I think she had a better match with Nikki Bella, and I wasn't even that crazy about that. But every single match that Ronda has had, she does a spectacular job, and she did her part well. But you know, just seeing Sasha here, like, you look at Sasha and you look at Rousey, and you're like, does she even have a chance? It's just like, it was the same mentality going into this match that I did with Balor and Lesnar. I'm not buying this for 1 second. I don't even care how you book it. I'm sorry if you want to say I have a poor attitude, that I'm going into it with a bad attitude, that I'm wanting it to be bad based on that attitude. You know, I don't care, because that's just, you're showing me that you're just booking a bunch of nonsense to satisfy such a small niche audience that it's just unbelievably, like, mind-numbing, like, why you would even choose to just, you know, that little segment of the population that would find something like that appealing. So I watched this, and then, you know, Ronda's, you know, on the mat, like, looking at her like, I still love you, Sasha. Like, I mean, what? Like, are you serious here? I'm here sitting watching this, just unbelievable, like ill, like cringy as fuck. And the sad thing is that this was only the tip of the cringe iceberg. And because the cringe Titanic, it was like already looming over that fucking iceberg, and it was already plowing ahead, you know. You know, there you go. It was headed that way. It was coming for it. And then, you know, all of a sudden, bam, we hit into the Women's Royal Rumble. So, disclaimer, in case anybody was ever wondering about this or anything like that, like, this is the thing. Before 2018's Women's Royal Rumble, everybody heard me say on this channel that I didn't want to see this. The girls are going to get hurt. They were going to get exposed. It was going to be cringeworthy. It was going to be horrible. And then I looked like a giant ass because the fucking match was actually really good. They had a lot of legends. We had Michelle McCool, who I thought was like the MVP of that match, tossing fucking like 8 girls out of that match. And it was just something about her knowing that she was like married to Taker. It just made her look more awesome in my eyes. And you just had a whole bunch of girls from the past, like Molly Holly, and just a bunch of was Molly Holly in there? I don't know, but there was a bunch of other girls in there, and it was really awesome. I'm kind of getting the Evolution Battle Royal confused, or whatever it was. But anyway, that was that it was a good match in 2018. I thought it stole the show. I thought it was a lot better than the men's Royal Rumble. The funny thing here is that this 2019 Rumble, this is exactly how I envisioned it to be last year in 2018. That's why I was so fucking shocked. I sat there in the Raw review and I was like, well, you know what? They're probably going to have legends. They're probably going to have some big moments. They're probably going to apply the same mentality that they did in that excellent 2018 entry. And then, holy fucking shit, it was a fucking mess. Oh my God. It was everything I would thought that it was going to be the first time around. So, and this time they had no legends. There was not a single callback to the past in this match. Not a single fucking legend. Michelle McCool was not there. Medusa was not there. Trish Stratus was not there. Lita was not there. Molly Holly wasn't there. There wasn't a single fucking girl in there. Except for Mickie James, who had already been there. She's already on the main roster. And this was Botch City. This was Botch Central. They were botching up and down the fucking match. Every 2 seconds there was something horrible, something cringy happening. I mean, then the Iconics got in there. And oh my God, like they just were botching the fuck out of this match. Peyton Royce does this spin kick. Billy Kay, who might even be more awful in the ring, like they were just I mean, how are they being promoted? And then they get all these girls. Okay, so we already saw Kairi Sane, you know, the pirate girl. Okay, that's fantastic. I mean, we already know it. But it's like, it's funny. She was there in the Royal Rumble last year, and she hasn't even been promoted to the main roster. So it's like, first of all, how are they even coming into this match when you apply this logic? Like, this is supposed to be for the WWE stars, and like, you're getting these people to come out and do these appearances. Now, what do you think is going to get the bigger pop? Do you think it's going to be somebody from NXT, which less than a million people watch every week? Probably even less than that. I think it's like 500,000. Not even all the people who have the network watch it. The people who might stream it somehow illegally online, like, you know, they're how many people are watching that from that small little segment of the population. So it's like, are you better off doing a little Trish Stratus spot? I mean, I understand that she was just at Evolution, so that kind of takes away from the surprise. I get that, but who do you think would get a bigger pop? Trish and Lita? Or do you think some random girl like Candice LeRae? Who the fuck is that? Like, what? All these girls. And there was like Candice LeRae. And is that the one who's Johnny Gargano's wife? Because then there was another girl in there. And like she looked almost like that girl. And then you had who was it? Ripley from not just so not even from WWE, not even from NXT, but NXT UK. Like who? What? Like honestly, like who? If barely anybody watches NXT. And the thing is that WWE actually loses money doing NXT. This is like common knowledge here. We've already said that you know they do this NXT thing, and despite doing the shows in the Barclays Center and all the takeovers, they actually don't make a profit off of it. So they actually lose money by having NXT. So don't have NXT. Is there even a fucking point? Go back to just having a developmental territory. That's just a plain ass developmental territory. You know, the way how it was with OVW and FCW. So what is even the point? The Performance Center, all this shit, like, it doesn't even make any sense. So it's like, if no one watches NXT, plain old NXT, then who is watching NXT UK? Like, really? Like, is that really even a... Like, I knew it was a brand, I know, but, like, you're gonna do cameos in this fucking Royal Rumble from NXT UK, and there were more than just cameos. You had the Bruiserweight in there, Pete Dunne. Like, remember he came out and defeated Enzo one night, like about a year ago, before he left the WWE. Remember when that happened? Okay, so like he's still not on the main roster. He's still not there. So you're like left like just kind of sitting there saying like, well, okay, so like, these guys, like, they're in the Rumble, but they're not going to be there the next time. Then you had Aleister Black, who, yes, Aleister does look like a star, and someone had even told me that a few months back. Oh, I think you'd really like Aleister Black if you watched NXT. So he throws Dean Ambrose out of the Rumble, he eliminates him. And how much do you want to bet on Raw tonight? They're not even going to follow up on that. Aleister is probably going to go back into the into NXT like it never even fucking happened. And you know what's even more hilarious? Like, okay, so I mean, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm talking about the Men's Royal Rumble before we even get to it. Okay, so we'll slow down a little bit on. So, but this Women's Rumble, you had like all these girls in here, and like, who the fuck are they? Like, who they just like popped up in there, and like, so at the end, you've got Becky Lynch, takes Lana's spot. So like Lana's like there at the entrance ramp for like 10 minutes. Becky comes out and it's like, okay, and so let's cut to the chase. Becky wins the whole thing. Boom, it's done. Everything is done. Number 30 spot wasted with Carmella. Charlotte stays in there. And you know what I noticed? They keep doing this thing. Oh, like, they spent 50 minutes in there. Natalya spent 50 minutes. It's like, all it seems like that they do is they keep these girls and they make them work a long time in the ring just so they could get the numbers up. Like, remember when it used to be impressive? Like, we all knew Natalya wasn't going to win. So what the fuck was the point of keeping her in there for 50 minutes? Nobody thought, okay, if it wasn't going to be Becky, it was going to be Charlotte. And that was about it. And then, like, Nikki Cross is in there, and they have her get eliminated by the Iconics of all people. And like, all these girls in here, and I'll admit the UK girl, Ripley, she looked kind of tough, but they just have her thrown out like a piece of trash. And we'll get to that. I already started touching on the Men's Rumble. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. But Becky rushes in there, and she's all cringy. She's doing like this, and I see it. I see the Stone Cold, like, wannabe mentality now. She's really getting into it. She's talking to the ref, doing these exaggerated hand, except when Stone Cold did it wasn't exaggerated. It was actually pretty authentic. That's just who he was, and so she comes in there, and, it's like, I don't know. Did they hand out those man signs? But I will admit, it definitely did seem like Becky got a bigger reaction than the winner of the Men's Rumble. But you all probably know who won it by now. But I'm just doing a little bit of suspense here, even though there's no fucking point to it. Because even if you didn't watch the Rumble, you probably still know who fucking won it. So I just thought it was like, but the thing is, Becky lost her match. She tapped out to Asuka. It was an emphatic win. Clean win. So it's like, so here she comes out now to win the opportunity again. So I know you could look at this from one of two ways. You could say like, okay, at least they're having her get back on the ball. They're not doing like, oh, she's just going to sulk and, they're not going to just knock her back down the card just because she lost the match. Yeah, but she lost the match. And it wasn't even like Asuka had to cheat to win it, or there was some type of funny finish where they could kind of write it off that like, oh, Becky, it's not her fault. No, she lost the match. She lost it pretty fucking cleanly. And the thing is, here they are like, okay, now Becky now can come back, and Superman's, and she's not even selling like the tiredness of having a big ass match with this like Japanese lunatic. She's just kind of coming out there. Oh, I mean, okay, yeah, okay, she had a bit of a rest. She's been resting for like about 3-4 hours. So yeah, the show is so long, I guess anybody could, but this was like 2 hours in. So fuck that. It doesn't matter if she had a 2-hour rest or what the fuck ever it was. It doesn't make any sense at all that she'd come out there, she's got a second win, she comes back and she wins it all. After these girls have been fucking killing themselves in there for fucking 50 minutes, over a goddamn fucking hour, like Charlotte. And you've got like Natalya in there, like almost there for the whole length of the goddamn match, and you're just gonna give it to Becky. Oh, I'm the man. Oh, like, okay, like, wow. Just wow, like how fucking just obnoxious this whole fucking thing is. And you're the man. You know, everybody feels like so empowered, right? You know what's funny? It's not even the females being big fans of Becky. It's all the guys. Yay, I don't want to be considered sexist, so I'm going to cheer for Becky. just, oh my God. Cringey Lynch wins it. That's all you need to know. Bryan defeated AJ Styles when Eric Rowan returned to help him out. Interesting premise that Eric Rowan would be able, you know, they got the idea, you know, he's bearded and everything. He came out in a flannel. Good protection for Bryan. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Shawn Michaels and Diesel. It's been done before, but I think it's a decent idea. Anyway, it would be kind of cool to have Bryan out there, you know, kind of with like, you know, just having Eric Rowan behind him. You know, could remain silent, doesn't have to say much, but okay, that was at the end of the match. This match was a fucking half an hour, and I am not kidding. By the time I picked up the remote and fast forward through some of this, it was almost already at the end. This was a grueling fucking match, and just like last time, I have to say something. Just like at TLC, why is this match so bad? Like AJ Styles and Bryan are like top tier guys. Like, you know, these are, when it comes to in-ring work, you need not look no further than these guys. But for some reason, the past few times they've gotten in the ring together, it's been fucking awful. This was a slow, grueling, just waste of a match. And I mean, like, I don't even know, but it seemed like these guys like never got out of first gear. It felt like the whole match was a feeling out process, you know, and I'm not even saying like, I'm not one of these smarks, you gotta be high flying moves and shit. Like, there were a few from AJ, but like, I don't know, everything just seemed like it was in slow motion. I don't know if these guys are hurt, forgive me if they are, but it just seemed like to me that these guys like didn't really have their heart in it. It just seemed like, and I understand because Bryan's been so into his character. He's been doing such a great job on the mic on SmackDown. But this match, whew, shit, it was fucking awful. It was just terrible in almost every conceivable way. So, you know, it was cool to see Rowan again. But my God, this was a bad match. Then up next you had Brock Lesnar defeating Finn Balor. Big surprise there, but like, Balor was like, you know, doing all these flips and dives and shit. He's pushing Lesnar in there, and it looked like to me that like Balor came closer to winning, you know, the title than AJ or Bryan, and that is fucking bullshit. I mean, holy fucking shit! What the hell were they fucking? I don't even care that Lesnar won. Lesnar's like sitting there, like holding his stomach that he could like barely, you know, manage to beat him. That he couldn't even F5 him. What he had to do was break out the Kimura lock, which he hasn't used in years. Like, he has to like break out his secret weapon. That's how awesome Balor. Balor wasn't even the demon in this match. He was still his same. Like, what the hell is this even? Like it was still his same, just boring ass, generic indie wrestler. You know, Balor was like build an indie wrestler, basically. You know what I mean? You know, no like leather jacket, beard. Like, that's it. Like, you know, slap on a really generic high-flying move set, and there you go. Wow, he could do a somersault plancha. Wow, he could do a suicide dive. Wow, he could counter the F5 into the DDT. Like, all these moves that just basically every smaller guy has ever done. The F5 has been countered into a DDT ever since Eddie Guerrero, for fuck's sake. So it's like, okay. Like, I mean, honestly, like, there was nothing impressive about this performance. I'm just sitting there saying it's bullshit the whole fucking time. Lesnar's there getting his ass kicked in the match by Balor. And then like Lesnar just kind of loses at the end and beats him up anyway. But like the fact that like, oh, he had to dip into his bag of tricks and pull out the Kimura, which he hadn't used in fucking years. Like, I'm just like, what? He's not even the Demon. How, how is he not getting his ass kicked during the whole fucking match? At least when it was Bryan and AJ, they got their asses kicked. It was in a believable fashion. They had little comebacks and all that, but it was just, unbelievable to watch. And I just, man, I mean, this, if they went this far in a match, like, okay, I don't care that Balor didn't win. Oh, Brad, it doesn't matter. He didn't win anyway. Okay, I really don't care about that. Because the way I see it is like, if they're willing to go that far with Balor, like, that means that they're going to try to make, like, he's one of the top tier guys. To me, it didn't even seem like the crowd even gave a fuck. The crowd was almost half asleep. When this match happened, I mean, when the Daniel Bryan AJ thing was going on, I was like, have we seriously not even done Balor and Lesnar yet? And we still have a fucking hour-long Rumble to go. And then we turn our attention to the Men's Royal Rumble. And there was so much shit that happened here. I mean, if you thought at least with the Rumble thing, that was pretty cut and dry. It sucked. It was bad. Botches up the ass. And same thing in this men's match. Botches up the ass. Weird shit. Weird decisions. NXT, nobody's all over the place. I already mentioned Aleister Black. Aleister Black comes out. Stays in there a while. And Pete Dunne was like in there for a long time as well. So, and they were just kind of, going back and forth and everything. It's like, and who are these guys? Like, they're just from NXT. They just come out. They have like no connection, no storyline at all. They just fucking throw them in here. Like, oh, here's some guys from NXT. Let's satisfy some of the smarks that watch NXT every week. While meanwhile, I'm sitting there and I can't appreciate it because I'm just like, well, and people are going to say, oh, well, this is why you should watch NXT. No, this is why this fucking product fucking sucks. Because they just throw random fucking people out there. So who are the legends? There was one legend in this whole match. One legend. And that was at the beginning. And it was Jeff Jarrett. And okay, so they had Jeff Jarrett come out there. Because the number one spot was Elias. So Elias is out there to play his song, and out comes Jeff Jarrett dressed up in the full garb. Now, I've never really been a massive fan of country singer Jeff Jarrett. I've always been a bigger fan of short-haired, slapnuts Jeff Jarrett, smashing people over the head with the guitar. But then they had, like, Elias smash him over the head with the guitar in the Rumble. And I was like, that should have been a segment reserved for, like, Raw or something. It's just, I don't know, it was very forgettable. They just made Jarrett look kind of stupid there. And having Jarrett kind of like go back and be like the country singer after like all the stuff he's done, like with like, beating up women and Nicole Bass and the storyline with China and everything in WCW and TNA with Kurt Angle's wife. It was kind of cringy actually to go back to this. I'm not Jeff Jarrett. I'm a fan of Jeff Jarrett. I like Jeff Jarrett, but seeing Jeff Jarrett in this particular gimmick, it was just not really doing it for me. And I know it fits into the whole Elias thing, but it's like, they just did it so they could kind of do it. And it felt really sloppy and rushed. Like, this was something that they should have took their time with on Raw. This was something that they should have done for Raw 1000. Okay, I get it. You know, Jeff Jarrett was inducted. They decided to induct him, I think, about like a month or so or a few weeks after Raw 1000. But you know what, guys? Just they should have done. They should have done it like SmackDown 1000. I don't fucking know. They should have done it better than this. So Lashley gets eliminated in like fucking 2 seconds in this match, which was a fucking embarrassment. Dean Ambrose, as I mentioned before, gets thrown out by Aleister Black, who isn't even on the fucking roster. It would have made more sense to have him, you know, it would have made more sense to have Dean Ambrose kind of knock Seth Rollins out of commission, because that's what happens. Lashley puts Rollins through the table. Rollins never sells anything, like ever. He doesn't even sell a fucking doomsday device that almost took his head off on Raw, but he'll sell a table spot for a fucking half an hour. I'm not even kidding. He sold it for a half an hour. That's embarrassing. I'm sorry to say, but like that wasn't like him choosing to sell it. It was just like, Seth, lay down on the ground for half an hour. He's not even in the fucking match. He goes from having like a 90-minute performance on Raw to like laying out for the majority of a match. Like so when he finally wins the Rumble, I'm just sitting there saying, what the fuck did you do the whole match? You came in like the last 10 minutes where everybody else is fucking killing themselves. It was the same idea like Becky Lynch. Oh, let's have these people come in at the last couple of minutes while everyone else is fucking killing themselves in there, and you're just gonna come from behind and win it. Oh wow, what a story there. No, that's not a story. That's a fucking cop out. That was lame as shit to have these guys coming in the last minute tiptoeing from behind. Like I'm saying, like Seth Rollins never sells anything. But here they have him selling like for a good majority of the match. I mean, why not tell the story that he's in there since the number 1 spot and he wins? Like, okay, that would have at least, it would have still been Rollins. We all know that I didn't want to see Rollins win, so I wouldn't have been happy no matter what. I'll be perfectly honest. I'm biased. Brad, you never liked me. You never liked me, and no matter what. Even if I didn't sell for 30 minutes and I was still wrestling for 30 minutes, he still probably would have been doing suicide dives. Oh, well, I didn't go over the top rope, so it doesn't count. I mean, just, it wouldn't have mattered. It just sucks. It's Rollins winning at the end of the day, and I just don't like him, okay? I just don't like Rollins. I think he's very overrated, and this was exactly the thing here. And then Elias, he's in there, he's lasting a while, and then they kind of just throw him out. And like I said, Aleister Black throws out Ambrose. Wouldn't it have made more sense to have, like, Ambrose, like, put Rollins through the table, like, since they're the big rivals, but instead they go with Lashley. Okay, he has a little storyline with him too, but instead they just have, like, Ambrose get thrown out by fucking Aleister Black. And Pete Dunne, who doesn't look like anything fucking impressive at all. He's just got a weird shaped head. I said the same thing fucking when he faced off against Enzo. Like, this guy doesn't even look like anything special. He wears a mouth guard. Oh, and can we say this? Kurt Angle comes in at like number 4, doesn't eliminate a single person, and then Naka Murphy, who earlier in the night, I didn't even talk about the pre-show, Naka Murphy wins back the U.S. title from Rusev because some reason, I don't, like, they put the title on Rusev just to put it back on Naka Murphy. Naka Murphy is, like, in the match anyway, and then he, like, fucking kicks him, he throws Angle out like he's a sack of garbage. Like, are you fucking serious? I'm just checking some of my notes just to make sure I didn't miss anything because there was a few things I wanted to say here. So, yeah, Angle, like, Kurt Angle, like, came back a few weeks ago, gets revenge on Baron Corbin, is not seen for weeks, and, like, did they, like, really have a problem with Kurt Angle? I guess because he worked for TNA for years. Like, is that, like, an issue that, like, now we have to, like, hate Angle because of what he... Oh, how dare he You know, like, how dare he, like, work for another fucking company? Like, grow the fuck up. This guy probably has a few more good years left in him, and you're gonna treat him like a fucking sack of garbage. It's very obvious that Angle's putting up with this shit so he could just, you know, make a payday and then be on his merry way in about another year or so. Okay, so, like, there's that. Also, let's talk about who was in there at the time. It was Randy Orton, Mustafa Ali, Rey Mysterio, and there was like, Dolph Ziggler. So, yeah, and let's talk about Drew McIntyre, who also gets in there nice and early. Drew McIntyre throws both members of New Day out. Fuck those guys. You know, he has a good performance. And then Ziggler comes out of nowhere, hasn't been there in a few weeks, he's been on a hiatus, comes in, super kicks Drew McIntyre out. That's it for Drew. After Drew, like, got eliminated, I was like, oh, that's it. Rollins is definitely winning it. I knew he was winning it before, but now he's definitely winning it. That feeling is fucking awful. Like, when you know that, like, that already the result, why did I even bother fucking finishing watching this disaster of a match? Just to see a whole, you know, all these guys getting humiliated. Like, Ambrose changes his character, you know, and he does a good job, couple of good promos, and they make him wear a fucking gas mask, and then, you know, make a genuine fool out of him by having him get eliminated by a developmental guy that looks kind of cool, but, you know, we don't even know who the fuck he is. So he's a no-namer, and he gets thrown out. Oh, watch TakeOver. No, I don't think I'm going to, okay? And I'm definitely not going to watch it after this. I don't even want to watch WWE. I didn't even want to fucking watch this show. I saw, you know, I don't want to even hear that fucking argument. And, you know, so Drew gets made a fool out of. Ambrose gets made a fool out of. Kurt Angle definitely was made to look like a complete fucking joke. When this guy, I mean, think of how many years he was a main fixture of WWE programming. Like, you think about from 2000 all the way up until he left in 2006, he was an integral part of the fucking show. He had so many good moments, so many good matches. What a personality. What a wrestler. And then he comes out for this match, and they just make him look like a fucking dumbass. Like, you know, whoa, throw him over the top rope like he's a sack of garbage by Nakamurphy. A guy who was on the pre-show. Kurt Angle main evented several WrestleManias. And here he is, years later, he can't even fucking spend 2 minutes in the Rumble match. I mean, I don't know. I really, I don't even know anymore. And then, okay, so I got a little sidetracked here. I was going to talk about Nia Jax getting in there. So, Nia beats the shit out of R-Truth. If that guy has not already been buried, I don't know how else you do it. He doesn't even really get beat up in such a convincing fashion that he would be out of commission for the whole match. But whatever. Truth sells it, you know. And so Nia steals his spot. Comes in. And I don't know. I thought this was kind of cool. I was like, wow, she's in there. She picks up Mustafa. All the guys are like shocked. Okay, they did a good job with the facial expressions. Like, they didn't know what to do. It's been a very long time since a woman has been in the same ring with a guy, you know, in a match like this. And I'm like, well, how are they going to get around this one? I mean, this is going to be interesting because they can't touch her because they have a very strict policy about, you know, women not, being directly hurt. You know, it's okay when Triple H stepped out of the way and Roman speared Stephanie because that was inadvertent. They could sell it as a mistake. Roman didn't mean to do that. So she tosses out Mustafa Ali. I started laughing. I thought, like, this is pretty fucking cool. I know I get on Nia Jax, but I said that she could be something good if they used her right. It's just the whole Starbucks routine is very fucking annoying and very big injustice of using her and her size. So, I don't know. Also, what Nia Jax was wearing tonight was not very flattering. She looked like a fucking egg. You know, she wore this glittery thing and it was just, I don't know. Usually when she wears that like armory black and blue thing, it looks a lot better on her. But she just looked way too ovalish and egg-shaped here. She looked seriously like fucking Humpty Dumpty. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't mean to sound mean or anything like that, but fuck it. I'm going to cut right to the chase. I mean, she just did not look good. Anyway. So, she grabs Rey Mysterio and then Dolph Ziggler fucking super kicks her in the fucking face. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Did he just directly hurt a woman in the ring? Like, this has not been seen for over a decade. And then you have Randy Orton fucking RKO's her ass. Rey Mysterio hits a 619. She's like, whoa. And this was just a little, this part was a little goofy when she started taking all the finishers. And then she gets thrown over, and then she's kind of hanging on. The Mysterio drop kicks her. I don't know. This, in a way, was like, I could go either way on this. This was like 50-50. I thought it was kind of cool that they finally put a woman in there to interact with the man that hadn't been seen since Beth Phoenix. But, you know, they also kind of made it a little bit goofy. They could have done it better. It didn't have the same feel as when Chyna was in there. When Chyna walked in, there was a lot of talk about her being a serious threat. You know, and she was. And so, you know, you weren't laughing when Chyna, but I actually caught myself. I was laughing when Nia Jax was in there. I wasn't at first. They said it was kind of cool, and it was from a certain perspective, but in the execution of it, it looked kind of goofy. Then to end it all off, you had Seth Rollins in there with Braun Strowman, and I had completely forgotten that, like, Braun was in there. I don't know what happened to him, but he also spent, like, a good 10 or 15 minutes selling on the outside. And I was like, okay, I forgot that he was in there. So maybe there's a little bit of hope in the back of my head. I'm like, oh, no, there's none. But, maybe there's a little bit of hope. And then Seth curb stomps him on the apron. Braun falls to the outside. Seth Rollins won. The crowd was fucking dead. The crowd must have been asleep. It didn't look like anybody walked out, but maybe they've gotten better at shooting, you know, where the people had the empty seats. But, I mean, that did not sound like the reaction of Seth Rollins winning the Royal Rumble fan favorite, somebody that people legitimately wanted to see go on and main event WrestleMania. But I think I know why. Because the fucking show was 5 hours. It was 5 hours of excruciating, just non-stop, just bad entertainment. And I use that term lightly. There was mistake after mistake. Choices being made tonight that just were... I mean, first of all, you could have accomplished this show in 3 hours easily. Cut down on some of that, you know, the AJ thing or Bryan thing's not working out. Okay, guys, bring it home already. Let's, you know, stop it. Shorten the length of some of these matches. The first hour, 2 matches only happen. Come on. Let's cut some of that time out. It doesn't matter how many people cry that Becky and Oscar are not going 25, 30 minutes. Fuck that shit. Just, you know, come on. Start wrapping these matches up. There's too many of them. Most of it all sucked. And, like, the Rumbles, like, they just, oh my God, they were dragging so fucking horribly. And, like, I don't, you know, okay, I think the men's was slightly better because the women's was just so cringeworthy. But where they got the idea to just start throwing fucking random ass NXT people, and they always did that for a few, but, like, I know what they tried to do here this year, and I already can analyze the mentality. They're like, okay, you know what? Let's just make it more new people. Let's not use the same thing as last year, what we do in previous years, and use a bunch of legends to compensate for our, you know, talent that's not really getting over. But you really saw this year when they did not fall back on certain legends and they didn't reach out to certain names. And, you know, things did not turn out as good. And we really saw that with the 2018 Women's Royal Rumble, how much having legends there really benefited. It was an entertaining match. And in 2019, it was a complete 180. I mean, it was like night and day. This is exactly the type of match that I ranted against last year. And even at the end of 2017, when it was first announced that there was going to be a Women's Royal Rumble. I mean, guys, like, do you realize we're going to have women's tag belts? I mean, they're not stopping anytime soon. And this shit is... It's just unbearable to watch. And you know, you got the smarks all over the internet that are just, you know, so enthralled about this women's product. There you go, guys. That was a fucking horrible ass show. So, guys, why don't you do me a favor? Why not subscribe to this channel? Also, while you're here on this channel, why not check out some of my other types of videos that I do on here? I do rants, I do discussions, talk about a number of different topics, I do game reviews. I mean, you know, guys, seriously, I would say if you're a fan of me, check out some of my gaming content, because seriously, like, I don't even enjoy watching this show. You see I'm tortured. You see the clear contrast between when I watch something like this versus like when I review a video game or something like that. And even if I might have something negative to say about the game, it's never as, like, you know, anger-inducing as this, because this is like I really wasted my time. It was just bad. It was not worth watching. I felt really, like, just shitty after watching it. Just like, wow. So, anyway, guys, click the bell so you get all notifications when I post all my new videos. Check out some of the other content I have posted here. And thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.